Hello, 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 everyone. How are you? Hope you're having an incredible, incredible day, and may peace be upon you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for watching this show with me, your host, Dr. Izdihar Jamil, and with me, I have my beautiful, inspirational, uplifting guest, Sarah P. Antonella, who is an entrepreneur. She's also a best-selling author and a figure skating coach here in California. Sarah, darling, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hi, I'm so excited to be on here.
Thank you. And today, Sarah and I have been planning to have this, I don't know, for months, right? But there's always something coming up. But here we are, and we don't live too far from another. It's, really about maybe a couple of hours drive with one another. But today, we wanted to talk about, especially about bullying and the impact it has on you, and how you can just, if you can just hold on to it. I know it's really, really hard. Sarah has gone through a tremendous amount of challenge in that period, but if you can hold on to it, you will find that how beautiful, extraordinary, strong, and confident you are. And most importantly, you would then have the ability to help others through your life experience. So Sarah, just talk us a little bit about your experience of bullying when you were younger, because you mentioned that you're not Black, you're not this, you're somewhere in between, you've been called different names. So it was hard, like finding out, where do you fit in? Where do you belong?
No, it was definitely really tough growing up, because I experienced that, where it was like, oh, well, you're not white, you're not Black, you're like a mutt. And I was just like, whoa, like, and growing up as a child, like, you take that in and you really dive deep, and sometimes you feel like, oh gosh, they're right, and if you don't really build your confidence or have an outlet, like, you believe it, and for me, figure skating was definitely my outlet, and talking to God, between those two, it was like, that's what helped me, really go through it and get through it, and then finally getting over that hump, being able to help others, so.
Absolutely. So you talk about this aspect, like a multi-dimensional aspect, in the sense that, you have a physical outlet where you would, do figure skating, kind of like channeling it, whatever anger, whatever stress, whatever sadness that you have, into physicality. And then you would also have the spiritual side of things, where you're like, God, just help me. Like, oh, just help me, because, I'm pushed at the corner. So I want to talk about kind of like the how those two things like helped you to go through things, because a lot of times people would just get stuck in the room. They wouldn't even want to go out. So let's talk about physicality. How how did it help you into like channeling those feelings and emotion? Because the last thing you want to do is go out, right? Or do something physical.
I mean, for me, a lot of times, like, you don't want to get out of bed. You like struggle with even thinking about like sometimes you feel like as low as dirt, and it's hard, and it's really tough, but you got to really hone in. And for me, like, it was talking to God and being like, God, just give me the strength to get up, go through my day. And like growing up, I'd get it through it. I'd go do my early morning figure skating, I'd go to school, I'd deal with it there again. And then I'd go back to figure skating. But because I had God, and I literally had a prayer in my heart the whole entire day, like, okay, I got this, I'm going to be okay. Like, that's what helped me through the whole entire day. Plus, having that physical aspect, and letting out all of my stress and my anger, and like just sometimes just crying at the ice rink, it would help, And so I feel like that really helped me get, the strength and self-confidence that I have today. So.
Right. So if you look back, right, like, we don't know why people do what they do. We can make assumptions. But if you could go back to that particular time, who you are now, what would you say to those people that acted in the act of bullying? What would you say to them, so that they're like, oh, hang on a minute, this is not okay?
I mean, at least for me, I wish I had the strength to tell them, like God, because I honestly think when people do that, they don't have their own self-love. So they're like, reflecting it on you, or like switching it on you. And so if I could, I wish I could go back and be like, no, God loves you. And even if they came back to me and was like, you don't know what you're talking about, da da da, at least I know I made an impact. And I'm like, no, God loves you. It's going to be okay. Like whatever you're going through, you don't have to, inflict it on me. Because usually as a kid, I feel like that's, they had something else going on outside. So they used me as that punching bag. So
Exactly. And also, like, you touched a really good point there, Sarah, about that you are no one's punching bag. You
mhm.
are no one's punching bag. And the moment you become one is when you allow others to treat
Yep.
you that way. I think like it's important to highlight. Obviously, when you're younger, it's harder. Like you said, you take it into heart, you feel that there's something wrong with you. But when you have faith in yourself, you know who you are, like, hang on a minute, I'm not your punching bag. I'm no one's punching bag.
Yeah.
You got something still on, you go and do, like, punch a bag or something,
Yeah.
or like go figure skating. So how do we build that up, Sarah? Like, you know what, this is who I am and I'm no one's punching bag. What's your tip, what's your advice, or that, so we can start building that part within ourselves?
For me, it would definitely be like, like I said, talking to God and having that strong outlet there. And then also having like, a therapist or someone to actually mentally, because sometimes we're in such a pattern, we're such in a mental state that we don't see how to get out of Pandora's box. So it's good to have someone that specializes in that as well to help you. So you have your physical and your spiritual and your mental. And then in the physical aspect, you like have an outlet too. So like mine was figure skating. So just letting it all out on the table. I think those three components together really help, build your self-confidence and believe you're not that punching bag. So.
Absolutely. And you gotta, like, for things to change, I must change first. So you gotta tell yourself, I'm strong, I'm beautiful, I'm no one's punching
Yep.
bag. And me personally, there have been times where I'm like, that person would be like, rah, 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 rah. And I'm like, okay, hang on a minute, darling, I'm not your punching bag. Whatever you do before you come into this conversation with me, sort it out. But if there's time that you be like, you know what, this is what's going on in my life, can I just outflow it to you? It doesn't mean anything, but sometimes we girls, we just want to vent, right? Like, if they've communicated that to me, then I'm like, okay, you have my permission to just talk whatever that you want to talk, because I know it's not on me. You just want to outflow. So I feel that young women or young men, that it's okay for you to communicate, like, okay, I get, I don't know what's going on, but I'm not your punching bag.
Yes.
And kind of like stop to it. But sometimes it's hard, right, to like even say that.
Well, like for me growing up, it was definitely like I was an introvert, so I didn't really open up to people a lot. And so like my coach was like my therapist, or like my second mom. And so a lot of times she would, like, because I was always there, she would like help me, and she'd always tell me, tell me Bible verses, or like, tell me things that to help build my confidence. Like, no, you got this, like God has you. And truthfully, like without her and her really pushing, that God does love me and I do have a purpose in this life, I feel like that was a very big impact in my life today.
Absolutely. And now you've taken, you've years pass on, now you've grown up, from that life, from where you are now, and then you've actually built a really successful import and export business from the ground up. But there's also this preconceptions that people have about you, and say, oh, you're a trust fund kids, or you probably have this, it's probably you just flick your hair and then you got it. Those are the preconceptions that you now have with people. So how do we bust through these preconceptions that people have? Because sometimes I feel that people they just take one look at you
Yep.
and then they have all these judgments, whereas hang on a minute, that's not me. This
Yep.
is, you know, what I had to do. So talk about how you build your business from the ground up, because of that, it's hard work. Like, it's hard work building a business.
Well, it's definitely crazy when people are like, "Oh, your parents probably gave you money, or you probably got it from like being pretty." And I'm just like, "Well, wait, no. Like I started like from very, very humble beginnings. Like my parents and I, we shopped in the 99-cent store. We did thrift store shopping. Like there is no way. It was not even close. Like I don't even think I owned a pair of Nikes till I was in college. Like, and most people, they own Nikes like when they're babies. And so it's like, no, like I worked extremely hard to get where I am. Like I cold called. I went through every avenue to get the clients I have today to build the company where I am now. And like it's my baby. Like if somebody were to say that, I'd be like, no. It's like there's zero chance. And like you should definitely, like for me, I believe a lot of people should not judge a book by its cover and be like, oh, she's pretty. Oh, she probably had everything handed to her. No, like that's definitely far from the case. Like I worked my butt off to get here. So
Yeah. So what would be your biggest tip to entrepreneurs or, business owners who have an interest in business? What would your biggest tip be to them as they're building or starting or scaling their business?
my biggest tip would be don't give up, because when you do start your own business, it is a roller coaster. You'll have extremely high highs and extremely low lows. And being that business owner, all the responsibility relies on you. So like don't give up, really talk to God, really hone in and know your worth. And like I said, just don't give up. And it's gonna get better. And like they always say, it's always the rain before a rainbow. Is the way I look at it.
Yes, the rain before the rainbow. And, what about those times, Sarah? Because, entrepreneurship, it goes up and down, and there's
Yeah.
time when you're making money, there's time when you isn't. So how do we kind of like have faith that, and the time when no matter what we do, it's like, oh, where's the money? Where's the money? Where's like, like nothing works. So how can we have that patience? How can we have that faith? Like, like what we've done is enough, like it will come. So how do we do that in terms, especially when people like, what, I'm not making any money, I'm done.
I mean, for me, it's definitely talking to God. Like I really focus like every day, like before I go to bed, I will let it all out. And I'm like, God, so frustrated. I've done so much stuff. Like, why is this happening to me? Like I have, people that rely on me, people for payroll, like I don't know what I'm gonna do today. You know what I mean? And it's tough because, like I said, sometimes, like even me, I experience really low lows even now, and it's just like being like, okay, God has me, and trusting it, and knowing that there is a process and there is a bigger picture in this world, and you can get there. And for me, like even in my company, it took me like months to finally see like a good return of investment. And when I finally saw it, I was able to share it with all my close friends and family and help them get through like that income gap, because they're like, how are you living, this lifestyle? Like, what did you do? And I'd be like, no, it's hard work. And like, these are the tools. And if you want, like, I'd love to have you. And it's funny because now my company is literally like the people I hire are like family now. And it's like, we're such a close, tight knit because I want to give them the same kind of opportunity that I had. And so it's pretty cool.
That's a beautiful advice, especially, treating others like family, right? That's big in my culture, and treating people like family. They're more than just on your payroll. They have family as well. And I feel like, the biggest currency in business is relationship. If you take care of that relationship, you nurture it, and understanding the needs, because you and I come from a multicultural background. So, when we have special occasions, you want to be a little bit more sensitive to that, whether it's, Diwali, Chinese New Year, you want to be a little bit more sensitive to like, hey, I'm not working this period because I'm celebrating with this, or I think that's also like something you told me before, like how you are very respectful of the culture, that wherever you in, like for example, when Chinese New Year, you would give the ang pao or the little red money envelope.
Oh, yeah. Well, like mid-autumn summer right now, so you give moon cakes right now, actually. So I actually, oh, who do I give moon cakes to? You know, I'm like, okay, I got it. Got to make sure they're happy, you know? So
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's like a beautiful tip. So Sarah, thank you so much for joining me today. Like one final question for you. What's one fun thing that you do that others don't know about? And you can't say figure skating because we already talked about figure skating.
oh, I mean, I love to play the piano. It's like definitely a passion and joy. And like, I don't have one here in my place. So, and I was actually talking to my mother and I was like, oh, I want to put a keyboard here, because what I used to do at home outside of figure skating is I would go and I'd sit on the piano and just play my heart out, and I'd be like, it's okay, like just let it out on the keyboard, you know? And I would be like bawling my eyes out, but it would be like my little outlet, you know? So I love
Oh, that's exciting. Hopefully we'll have a concert from you soon with your little piano, which is, you know, a surprise to me because I play the piano too. I'm a classically trained pianist. But you know, but maybe one of these days we'll do a duet, right, Sarah? And
oh yeah, I
we'll do a little duet.
did it long time ago, because I did the same thing. So I play at church, so I can sight read anything. As long as I sit there for like 10 minutes, I don't even know what the piece has to be. I can just play it. But you got to give me a good 10 minutes so I can get it down first, you know?
Oh, absolutely. Well, don't worry, darling. I take the whole day to sight read everything. So we are good in that. So Sarah, thank you so much for joining me today. For those of you who are listening, if you love to be in the media or be the go-to person in your field or be a best-selling author, check out izdiharjamil.com. Thank you, Sarah, again for today. What a beautiful conversation. And tell yourself, yes, I can. And so it is done. Okay, Sarah, say bye to everybody.
Bye.